Blessings, beautiful, beloved tribe. This is Emily Potter. I'm the director of the Lightworker Musicians Tribe and the Million Kisses Foundation. This topic is one that I have talked with you about on the phone several times. This has come up several times with our tribe members. Are you someone who feels like you will ruin your marriage or your partnership or your family life if you choose to live your musical dream? This video is specifically for you. This video is not for those who have nothing that they want to change about that situation. So if you are someone who's just going to be sitting in your fears and saying it's okay, it's not worth the effort or the risks involved, then this video isn't for you. But for those of you who have the dream calling and you're saying, I'm just scared, I'm really scared, and yet it's still continuing to call and I just want to talk about it, then I want to talk about it with you. This is a really important one. And your fears are not without their foundation. I validate your fears. So for my own experience, some decisions that I've made in my own life has compromised some of my relationships because I had to be true to myself. And those relationships got compromised, and I severely disappointed some people in my life because I was true to myself. And in some ways, those relationships haven't all the way healed. And that's the truth, and that is the risk. So this is a really important thing for us to talk about for so many reasons. And I want to share with you that I have done the work in those relationships so that we have actually the best relationship that we've ever had because of our authenticity. There's not a part of me in those relationships that is hiding anymore. I know that they know who I am and I can tell the truth about me. And the level of disappointment is still there, and yet we are the happiest we've ever been in our relationship. That's my story, and yet I cannot at this time, and no one can promise you that you will have the same. So the risk is there that you can ruin marriages if you live your musical dream, and you can ruin your partnerships and the status quo and the homeostasis that you have created for your life, that you have a good life. And you've created some safety and some security around you. And if you actually go out there and risk being true to yourself, you're going to ruin everything that you created. No one can give you the safety or the guarantee that that won't happen. And so let's talk about it. Let's talk about this as a real thing. You're afraid that you're going to rock the boat so much that you might have someone leave you. You might have people disappointed in you. You might have a lot of heartbreak. And you might have all of the security that you have known and that you know right now completely leave you. And what do you have then? You have you and the risk that you've taken, and you don't know the rest. You don't know what's there and available to you, because you haven't taken the steps that way yet. So how can you possibly know? All you know is that you could risk what you have right now. If this is you, I want to validate it. This is legitimate. So here's the reason why we want to look at this. It's so deep. It's so personal. You are either destroying a part of the cave that you're hiding in, or you are going to be destroying a part of yourself. So something about the illusion that you're living right now is getting destroyed. And what happens with a lot of us is that you're willing to be the sacrificial lamb. You're willing to be the one to have the hole continue to get deeper and deeper within yourself and let yourself get destroyed so that you can keep everyone else in the peace and calm that you've created. So you would rather destroy the parts of yourself than destroy the cave that you're hiding in. And that's the symbol of the home life, the marriage, the partnership. There's some sort of cave that you've created that you're hiding in, and if you let that be the thing that gets destroyed, it's not going to be just you. You're going to be exploding parts of the cave, where right now you're just imploding, and that affects the people in your life, but you can handle that. You're going to just sacrifice yourself for the well-being of all. I want you to know that there are reasons why you're doing that are really legitimate, especially if you have a family and you have a mortgage and you have a dog together, you have a pet together. Everybody suffers if you actually go on this musical dream and you are true to yourself. Everybody suffers, and it's your fault, is what you're saying to yourself. So you are allowing yourself to be the one that is destroyed, rather than the cave that you're hiding in, the home life that you're hiding in, and that you're not all the way true to yourself. But the parts that you are true to, it's enough. It's enough. So you're not actually uncomfortable enough to make that change and to be true to yourself all the way. Does this resonate with some of you? Well, I know it does, because I've been talking to several of you on the phone and over private messages. So I know that this is a really, really deep and profound journey that you're on, and it's something that we get to talk about. So I'm going to now share with you something that's pretty important to say. For those of you who you're not ready to hear this, then by all means, just don't listen to it. That's fine. And that's because you perhaps have made your choice, and that's a legitimate choice. I want you to know, I know many people who have just chosen not to go for the musical dream because it's not worth the risk. So I want to really distinguish between the two, okay? So if you're at a place, nobody's going to be telling you to do anything. This is way too complicated of a situation than to say, just go follow your dream. I'm not going to dishonor you by saying that, because it's way too extensive. So if you have already made the decision that it's not worth the risk, then by all means, take the life that you've created and let it be beautiful. For those of you who cannot have that be your story and you're just afraid, this is what I want to say to you as the solution. And it's a really deep one. I'm going to look you right in the eyes as much as I can and say, well, for you, we either have this conversation now or we have this conversation later. And you can choose. Do you want to have this conversation now? Or do you want to have this conversation later? Because the dream within you is important. And the dream is not going to just be quiet. It's going to continue to call you. Because what I'll say and emphasize again, that the dream within you, the musical medicine that you held inside of you, has its own intelligence, and it has places it wants to go, and it has other hearts it wants to connect to, and it wants to take you on a journey. And your music medicine, for those of you who know that you get to trust it, is asking you to trust it. So this is the conversation, is saying it's worth the risks, and you get to actually have a relationship with what true love looks like. Because true love is going to create those relationships to go on a journey together. It could be chaotic. I have no idea. But what I know is that the true love of the relationships that you have right now will go on an adventure together. And that you actually don't have to destroy the parts of you that you are currently destroying. And it can actually enhance your relationship to be even more authentic than ever. And I can't promise you, I'll say that again, that that's going to happen. But what I can say is, in my own experience, the places where I was inauthentic in my relationships is now the best it's ever been. And that was worth the risk to me, because now I feel free. So I share this with you as a way to overcome this as a place of pain for you. So again, I say to those of you who know that this is not a place that you can just sit in, then we either have this conversation now with love and generosity and tenderness, or we have this conversation later. Now, for those of you who say, yeah, let's do it later because it's too scary, I'd like to have you feel challenged there in knowing what that looks like. And this is where you start to create your strategy and your plan, because later will continue to be later and later and later. And I ask you to really take note of the precious years that you will be sitting in your cave if you choose to do it later. Precious years will be wasted of your life. And then one of the biggest scares is that you might feel like you're then too old or not available to live the dream at that point for some reasons. We don't know what later is going to look like. So then I want to encourage you to have this conversation now and to recognize that the only reason why you don't want to have this conversation now is because you're afraid. And it's okay to be afraid. I'm ready to talk about things that are really difficult with you because I actually really believe in you. I believe in how strong your inner knowing is to listen. So this is why we're having this conversation today. And if you have tuned in and you've been listening up until the end of this, you, without maybe even desiring it on one conscious level, you are having the conversation now. Are you paying attention to that? We are having the conversation now because you're present and you're listening now. And there's all of this stirring ups that's happening now because it's not okay to destroy and implode parts of you. You don't have to do that. And you're going to come back with all of the fears and all of the things, and yet we're here, and the success is that you are having this conversation right now and you're listening. So let's continue the conversation, tribe. This video is about to be complete, but this is the beginning of you feeling seen in beginning the conversation. When you're ready to really make action steps happen, and you're ready to not waste precious years, and to really trust your relationships, trust what true love looks like, trust your inner knowing, then private message me. I'm here for you. And we're going to start to create that strategy in a tender, nourishing place. And you're going to be the one that leads that in the place that you know is best for you, with the steps that feel the best to you. Lots of love to you all today. I love you, and I will talk to you in the next video.